Hello students, once again I welcome to you all in online class. So students, today we will be studying chapter number 9 of literature, The Last Leaf, written by William Sidney Potter. So William Sidney Potter, known by his pen name O. Henry, was an American writer of short stories. His stories were famous for their plot twist at the end and were widely read because their witty narrations and playful language. So, of his well-known stories, The Gift of the Maggie and Ransom of Red Chief and a Retrieved Reformation. Okay, so let's come to a chapter. So, once upon a time, there was a town of poor painters. So, Shiv and Jonah were two friends who shared an apartment in a colony of poor artists. One winter, many people in the colony fell fell prey to pneumonia. Jonah was one of them. The doctor was worried about her progress as she seemed to have lost the will to live. He felt she would recover only if she became more more cheerful. So once upon a time there was a town of poor painters. So on a high hill she and Jonah were friends and who shared an apartment in a colony of poor artists. So now what happened? They lived in a little town at the edge of that town. So Jonah had come down of pneumonia and stayed in there feeling very ill. Returning after work, was she was exhausted. Why? Returning from work, she was exhausted. The wind is so cold outside. The wind is so cold outside. Winter is coming. How are you, Shu? So, the friend of Jonah, she is Shu. So, she was exhausted and she asked to her friend that, how are you? Now, Jonah, are you becoming coughing a lot? Have you taken your medicine? So her friend Shu asked to Jonah, Are you well? And are you becoming coughing a lot? Have you taken your medicine? Jonah was too weak. So she was too weak to respond. Now Shu and Jonah were so poor. They both were so poor. They can pay only food and medicine, or they can do some artist work to sell their paintings. From that they got money. So now Jonah stay helpless. Jonah stay helplessly. Now what happened? Looking at the window. Now she was looking at the window. There was some ivy on the opposite wall and she could see these. So there was ivy leaves on the opposite wall and she could see that leaves dancing. Now she said to Jonah, What are you looking at the now? Her friend asked to Jonah, What are you looking at? So what she replied, then she replied, Just leaves. What about them? Jonah, they are just like me. They are just like me, she said to Shu. Now Jonah got angry and she said, Stop looking at them. You are nothing like them. So now she was distressed by Jonah because she was distressed by Jonah. Shu closed the curtains. Jonah said, No, Shu, don't do that. I want to see the leaves. Shu ignored. So She closed the curtains and she ignored. Now Jonah words and closed the now her friend shoes. He closed the door, the curtains anyhow, anyway. When the last leaf fall, I will die too. Now Shu meets her friend who Jonah said to Shu that when the last leaf fall, I will die too. Okay, so now after that, Shu meets to doctor and said, so after that, her friend Shu meets to doctor, and so she meets to doctor and said, "What do you think?" Anyhow, she got better, She got better, doctor. So the doctor replied, "I don't see the hope of a moment. She has no will to survive." You see, Shu said, what isn't there anything that I can do? So she asked to doctor that isn't there anything that I can do? So she must believe that she can live and get better. The best you can do now is now give an hope and encouragement. That is the only medicine that can help her now to survive. So now she decided to make so what she did, she decided to make paintings. Okay, so she decided to make paintings for Jonah. Now Jonah lay in bed beside, looking at the window. So now Jonah was counting the leaves. Shu asked to her, "What are you doing?" Jonah said, "See, only 6 leaves left. How when the last leaf falls, I will die too." Shu got angry and said, How can you say that?" She got angry and she said to her friend that how can you say that? Now Jonah said, "The wind must be very strong outside. 2 more. I have just fall in." Okay, so she said to her friend that the wind must be very strong outside. 2 more. I have just fall in. Okay, so Shu gently took Jonah's hand and said, "Please, Jonah, be strong. The doctor said you will be fine. I am so, I am so." So the friend who Jonah said to Shu that, "I am so tired and coughing all the time, and I am seeing you work so hard for support me. Now I want to take rest." Shu had nothing to say. She could only look at Jonah. Okay, so now what happened? Shu and Jonah had a neighbor called Mr. Burman. Okay, so Mr. Burman, he was a painter too. He had not painted anything at a long time. Some people believe he had no talent sometime. So he would force for for other orders. He said to Shu that, "Tell me, Shu, how is Jonah?" She said, "She is so ill and weak. She insists that she will die when all the leaves in the wall of Ivy have fallen. The doctor said she will cover." What the doctor said? She said to Mr. Verman that doctor said she will cover up if she will believe, but all she was thinking about the falling of leaves. Mr. Berman said, "I wish I could find a way." Now heavy winds was blowing. Okay, so now heavy winds was blowing at that night, and raindrops powdered against the window. Mr. Verman watching the storms outside that looks bad. So he was thinking that it looks bad. I don't think the leaves can stay in this bad weather. So Mr. Verman wanted to find a way to save the life of Jonah. So what he was, but he was very poor. He was very poor himself. And when morning dawned, she looks. Now see what happened. So at the now when morning dawned, she looks to Jonah and thinking that the last leaf have fallen down due to this bad weather. Shoo, you awake? So she said to her friend, Shoo, you awake? Shoo said, Jonah, are you all right? The leaves must fallen, I think. Shoo, please open these curtains. I want to see the last leaf and let me see them. So Jonah said to her friend Shoo that open these curtains. I want to see the last leaf. So she hesitated and she was afraid that what happens. She said, no, I can't see. So she said to her friend that no, I can't. She said, please said no, because so she said, please you open the curtains. I want to see and let me see them. Let me see the last leaf. Now so Shu said no because she don't want to open the curtains, but when she saw Jonah's eyes, she knows that she don't have chance to survive. So slowly she went up to the window and grasped the curtains with trembling hands. Shu and Jonah both stand in spite the strong winds and the heavy rains. The last leaf was still there. So what they saw in the heavy rain also, and due to the in spite of this strong winds and heavy rains, the last leaf is still there. So Jonah said, look at that. Shoo, the last leaf has survived. So Jonah, the wind was so strong. Then also the leaf has not fallen. Shoo, I will be like that leaf, said Jonah. I will get better. They both were very happy now by seeing that last leaf. Jonah said to Shoo that I will get better. Said I am. They were so by this they both were very happy. Now the doctor said. Now the doctor came there. Okay, so the doctor came. When the doctor came there, so the doctor said, I am glad to see Shoo is so much improved. She has now she has a will to live, and she will be able to recover very soon. So now Shoo said to doctor, thank you doctor, thank you so much doctor. Now the doctor smiled and said, Jonah is still alive because of Mr. Verman. Do you know your neighbor Mr. Verman has gone to the hospital this morning. He was found lying in the street and his hands frozen, and he was frozen and his hands were strained and his hands were stained with paints. He was painting something, she said. I don't think so. Where would be he was? Where would be? He was painting in the rain, doctor. So now said, now what happened? I don't think so. In any case, an old man lying in the street, he was weak. So Shu said, so now how is he? Please tell me, doctor, how is he now? So the doctor said he didn't make it. I'm sorry. The doctor said to Shu that he didn't make it. I'm sorry. Shu looked again to the heavy leaf. Now she understood that it was an artificial leaf, and so now Shu by she seeing the leaf, she understood that this leaf is artificial. So that it was an artificial leaf, and suddenly she closed her eyes and she began to cry. Okay, she began to cry for Mr. Verman and his sacrifice. Okay, so students, we have completed our chapter. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Thank you.